Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everybody around the world. Welcome back to another One Piece video featuring your girl, Boa Hancock. Get ready for a very, very exciting deck profile featuring OP07, and which is right around the corner. So hopefully you guys have gotten your pre-orders in and all that sort of thing, and I'm very excited for OP07. This will be one of my most anticipated leaders from the set, along with Blue Dofi support and Yamato, of course. Now, without further ado, let's dive into this deck list here. We're going to talk about a little bit of the pros and cons and all that sort of thing. We're talking about what deck we're running here, why we're running certain cards, and we'll play a bunch of games today as we normally do. Without further ado, we're running with 12 2K counters, be it 4 Law, 4 Kaya, and 4 Crocodile. We're going to go over what these 2K counters do. You guys should be familiar with Kaya already. Crocodile, on the other hand, is a newer one that comes out in OP07. It's on play. You pay 1, return up to 1 2-cost or lower character to the owner's hand, which is really nice. So at the end of the day, you can play this down if you have a Sengoku on board and bounce this back. Therefore, if you have 5 cards or less, you can draw a free card with Boa's effect, which is really, really good. And speaking of Boa's effect, it's during your turn and only during your turn, once per turn. You may activate this character's ability if a character leaves play from one of your abilities on the field. And if you have 5 cards or less cards in hand, you get to draw 1, which is really, really good. Now, in any case, we've also included in the brand new Trafalgar Law, which is a 2K counter. And most of the time, you don't normally want to play counters on board unless you're like, you're playing yellow and you're playing like Hiyori. The two cost allows you to take a life and swap things around. Something that has an on-play effect. Law itself has an activate main, so you can play it down and activate the ability. Now, it's a 4 cost, right? So again, 2K counter, you don't normally want to play this on board. But how this works is, for example, with this 2K, it's playable and you can get it back. So you can get this card back from the trash with things like Gecko Moria, of course, and you can also play it for free with Jinbei. Jinbei allows you to play a 4 cost or lower Seven Warlords of the C-type character other than himself from your hand and play it on board for free. So in other words, you can play down Law. If your opponent has 6 or more cards in hand, you can activate this card's main effect, bounce Law to your hand. Your opponent takes the card from their hand and has to put it at the bottom of their deck. Considering Law left the field, if you have 5 cards or less in your hand, you get to draw 1 with Boa's ability, which is really, really cool. Now, in any case, Boa runs a lot of removal cards, such as things like 3000 Worlds, Red Rock, and Raging Tiger. I'm a very big fan of this card. Not a lot of people enjoy this one. I can understand it. It's fine. It is a 4 cost here, so it does have a little bit of a clunkiness in this deck, considering a lot of our stuff here is 4 cost, be it the Jinbei, the Gecko Morias, and the Pudding. But getting this off a trigger can be pretty good and detrimental to a lot of decks in the format, especially when you're playing against things like Yellow or removing small blockers and all that sort of thing. Removing tempo is really, really good here. So this is a reason why I decided to put this into the list. If you want to take it out, of course you can. You can go up on the 0 cost events, you can go up on Raging Tiger, or you can just max this out if you choose to. I've been playing around with different variations of this list. Normally I have this at 4 copies, but I took 2 out just to fluctuate and add in 2 more Edward Weevils. But we'll get into this in a second. Overall though, I do very much enjoy this list. I'm just waiting for Boa to make like a top 64 or a top 16. I think the list can do it. I think the leader is quite strong. It just does have some pretty hard matchups. But we'll get into that in a split second here. In any case, the other cool things that you can do with Jinbei, this deck is similar to Blue Dofi, right? You know, we're playing down like Doflamingo here to stack our life or stack our top 5 cards or stuff in case we want to draw certain things for removal, get our big bodies and all that sort of thing. But we don't get to cheat out bodies on board like Dofi does. So we don't play things like Perona and all that. But you do have access to things like Edward Weevil, which Dofi plays as well. Except for, in both variations, you have multiple ways of playing Weevil down on board for free. You can play this down off of Dofi's leader ability. Now, in Boa's case, you can play this down on board with Jinbei as well. So you can play down the Jinbei, play this down from hand for free, and draw +1, which is really, really useful. Because if you guys have stacked your cards in any order, you can stack it in a way where you can put a 2K counter there, do the Jinbei effect, get a Weevil on board, draw the 2K. It is very, very fun to play this deck. Now, It does have its flaws, right? Playing against certain variations, certain colors out there can really put this deck at a disadvantage, especially if you don't draw into your removal, like your Red Rocks and your Raging Tigers. But other than that, I think this deck has a very, very good shot at the metagame right now. Like I said, it's early. We just got more support in OP08 that makes this deck a little bit more of a monster with the new, where you at, buddy? Jozu, which is really, really good for this list, but that's in OP08, and we'll get into that in another video. In any case, we also gain access to the promo Luffy that you guys will see running around in a lot of these Boa lists as well. We don't have it included in here because we don't have access to this in OP07 right away, but this is something to consider, which is really good here in this list. Now, I've decided to include the 10-drop Kaidos and the 9-cost Mihawks. This is specifically for board removal and tempo plays. This allows you to get rid of Luffy's 7 drops from Green Uta and other relevant big bodies from decks like Gecko Moria and things of that nature. So like the Rob Lucci's and stuff, the Kakus from Rob Lucci as well. It's a very, very strong card on play for tempo, just to control the game in your favor. Other than that, you also can combo this up with the Sanji, and I'm pretty sure you guys know about this already, but you can play down the Sanji, kick the Mihawk on board, you can do that as well. I just feel this combination here is more suited towards the Dofi deck, considering you guys are more so stacking the top 5 cards with Dofi and Perona, and things like, what's that guy's called? Duval, right? I think his name's Duval, and this guy as well, but not so much in Boa. But you can play around with it. It's hit or miss for me. But considering we're not running Sanji here, we are filling that slot up with Kaido. Kaido is going to be something that you guys might see a lot more in Boa and in Doflamingo. This card is very, very strong into the metagame, into all decks outside of black decks. So things like Rob Lucci and Gecko Moria. Every other deck in the format, this card will get a lot of value into. Because realistically, we don't want to bounce back your Gecko Moria 8-drop. We don't want to do it, right? And you guys really don't play any other, top endgame cards other than Gecko Moria. We can bounce back everything else, and it doesn't really hurt us all too much, but Kaido doesn't hit things like Stussy. You really shouldn't be targeting Gecko Moria unless you absolutely have to. But in any other matchup, this is going to do a lot of work for you, which is really, really strong in Boa. Because again, if something leaves the board, you have 5 cards or less, you get to draw a free card. Which, if you stacked it with Dofi or what have you, you can just get a 2k counter or something else of that nature. Now, we do have searchers in this list as well, be it Sengoku. He allows you to search top 5 for 7 Warlords of the Sea and add it to your hand. So, just your typical searcher. You can also use Tashigi here if you guys want to play around with that as well. Just because Tashigi allows you to search out your things like your Raging Tiger, which is really, really good here. But that's just about it. This is kind of like the only Navy card you usually run here in a Boa deck, outside of Sengoku, of course. But I've seen some lists run this. I don't think I would recommend it unless I can favor this build around a little bit more Navy Central. And I would have to run things like Borsellino, which isn't necessarily too bad, because he allows you to, bottom deck certain cards, and we're talking about the 7-drop here. Or you can run things like X-Drake, which is also Navy, and he does the same thing that the Dofi does as well. And if you notice, we don't run a lot of 5-drops, so running X-Drake might not be a bad option, just a little bit expensive in this deck, considering you're going to be playing around with making sure you have options for removal cards as well. But overall, this is a very, very exciting list to play. I can't wait for this leader to come out. I'm going all out for her, so it's going to be a lot of fun for me. Well, let's go ahead and talk about one of the best cards ever printed, in my opinion, which will be the 6-drop Boa Hancock. This card essentially is a Doflamingo effect. So, if we're all familiar with Doflamingo 10-drop, which you should be, he makes it where up to 3 cards of your opponent's side of the field that are rested cannot, reactivate during the following turn. Boa has a similar effect for blue, except for she can choose one, and it can be rested or non-rested. So she can choose whatever she wants other than leader, and that character cannot attack, which is really, really strong. And she can bottom deck something that's 1 cost or less. So in other words, she can remove a 1-drop on board and do the leader effect here with your leader, draw a free card. Being able to chain these back to back sometimes can really just net you games. She's a 6 cost with an 8k body, so 1 down attack. She's swinging for that magic number of 9k. So she's going to have a lot of fun. But overall, we are going to dive into a bunch of games today, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this one. Now, before we get into that, we're going to talk about some pros and cons with Boa Hancock. Unfortunately, there are 2 decks in the format that just feel unwinnable, and that will be your Gecko Moria matchups and your Rob Lucci's. More so your Rob Lucci. This is a deck in which it's very, very difficult to play around with Boa. This leader can remove everything in the game. You guys think Sokka is bad, just wait till you guys actually start playing against Rob Lucci in OP07. With the stage, with all the removal pieces that he has, with Stussy as well. Like, it feels really unwinnable playing against this deck. Not so much Gecko Moria. He's still a very, very tough leader to play around, and I do think it's a winnable matchup. Just, it's an uphill battle going into this leader. A lot more so than Rob Lucci. Rob Lucci almost feels like an auto lose, depending on, even if you draw good, it feels really, really bad sometimes. They have to have a really bad opening hand on their mulligan, and they have to miss a lot of pieces at the mill a lot of cards off their deck that they actually need, and it's not as likely as you think. Now with Gecko Moria, of course, it's a similar situation, except for they play cards back from the trash, just like Lucci does as well, but he's not as brutal as Rob Lucci. He doesn't play stage, so he doesn't have access to as much removal as Lucci does. So sometimes your 9 cost Mihawk or your 10 cost Kaido, your 6 cost Boa or what have you, they'll stay around longer on board versus a Gecko than normally they would versus a Rob Lucci. You see what I mean? But other than these two lists here, I think these are going to be your toughest matchups in the format. Now, we do play against decks such as like Blue Yellow Luffy, and where's the other one at? We're going to see a lot of, what's her name? Bonnie. We're going to see a lot of these 2 lists going into OP07. I do think these lists here are very much winnable, considering the fact that you can just bottom deck everything that they want to do. You can remove the kids, you can remove the small blockers, you have the Raging Tiger to get rid of all of Luffy's cards on board, be it the Sabos, the Aces, and all of that. It's a little bit of an easier win for you guys, and we are going to see these lists quite a bit going into OP07. Another very difficult matchup is Perona. This is definitely not a you automatically lose this match, but this can be a difficult match if they're running cards such as what's her name again, Stussy. Some lists will run it, some lists will run Doflamingo, some lists will run Kid, but you can remove those with ease, generally speaking. The on-play ability with Stussy is pretty detrimental to Boa, especially if they can just pop any card on their board that they don't care about. So like a Momo or what have you, they can just get rid of that and KO something on your field. So they can get rid of your Mihawks, your Kaidos, and all that sort of thing. Kind of similar to the Rob Lucci aspect, but this is just a very, very scary card to deal with for Boa. But other than that, if they are running, like I said, the Doflamingo and the kids, you have the removal for it, and it's not that bad, like realistically. But overall, we're going to dive into a bunch of games today. Hopefully you guys are ready for this one. Remember to smash the like button so these videos can get floating around. Let's get into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into a bunch of games today, coming at you guys with OP07 with Boa. I'm very excited to actually dive into this leader, man. I've been hesitating on putting out content in which is a set ahead, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I feel like OP06 is pretty much on its way out right now. I have a little bit of stuff I still want to do with OP06 here. Not too many other decks that I want to dive into. There's a lot more stuff that I want to dive into with those decks with OP07, you know what I mean? So, I'm going to try to get them out of the way, and then I'm going to give you guys as much content as I can for OP07, so don't go nowhere. I'm going to do my best, as we normally do here on the channel. But in any case, let's dive into this matchup and see what we can do here, playing against Blue Doflamingo. This should be an interesting match, I think. He does have a lot of ways to put a lot of bodies on board with ease, right? He has his leader ability. He can play down the Jinbei, and Jinbei can do other things. He could also do leader ability, get Jinbei off the top of his deck and do Jinbei things. So this man can put a lot of bodies on board for free. So I need to see certain cards in this matchup, such as things like 3000 World and Raging Tiger and stuff, just to remove a lot of these bodies. But this actually isn't too bad. We're gonna leave this on top. All right, this will work. Let's see what he's gonna do here. He's already stacked he's already stacked the deck, so he might just do the leader ability, which is fine. But I'm gonna be a little bit aggressive with Doflamingo. I think we're gonna attack with him as well here, just to get another damage in and hopefully pitch cards from this man's hand. Plays down Crocodile. He should be able to pay 1, bounce pro into the hand. Nice, nice, nice. Really good. Let's take the hit here. Yeah, of course, no trigger. Alright. We do get a Jinbei, which isn't bad. Let's go 5 in a Crocodile. Just hear me out. We're going to go 5. He has the 1k if he wants to do it. Okay, cool. So we knew he had a Perona, obviously. I think if he would have given us anything else, that just told us information about cards that are in his hand, you know? So now we'll bottom deck this. We don't get to draw one because we have more than 5 cards in hand, but we can still swing in with Dofi, get 5 in. Now, if he wants to attack into Dofi next turn, that's totally okay. It's more so that Dofi's still a blocker, he still absorbed an attack from me, he still did his job. If he doesn't, we can just potentially get another 5k swing in until he wants to remove it. Okay, so he gets Law, which is fine, because Law's ability is Activate. So we are going to have to counter this. This will do, pushes up to 8. Because if we don't, he can activate Law's ability and make us bottom deck a card, and I don't want to do that either. He's got 6 in hand. So let's do Jinbei, and then we can play down Law off the Jinbei effect. We can do Law's ability, make him bottom deck a card. Okay. Now we don't know what he put away. It's because he chooses it. We don't get to pick it. We don't get to look at it. He gets to choose it and puts it on the bottom. But he still loses a card in hand, which is nice. And we get to gain an extra card considering we had 5 cards or less in hand with Boa's ability. We also got the Red Rock off the draw. We'll clear the Law, I assume. I mean, I wouldn't think he'd give me 3k counter, but he might block here with Dofi. And if he does, we just attack into it with our Dofi anyway. Cool. Nice. Let's go 6 here as well. Okay, we got a 2k counter out of that. I think that was definitely worth it. I guess it's going to depend on what this deck plays for top end, though, as well. He might be running the 10-drop Kaido, allows him to draw more cards. He could be doing the Sanji Mihawk thing. We don't know yet. So I'm trying to stay at 4 life as long as I can, just in case he is running the Kaido thing, you know? Ooh. Dang, man. We have to take this one. Oh, okay, Weevil. Alright, not bad. Just because we have the removal for it. I say I wanted to stay at 4, but I was going to give him 2k counters for that. Let's do this, just to have the body on board here. We'll do that, and then we get to draw a free card. So we get the Kaido back from that, which is nice. This might be a good turn for us. Oh, never mind. Gets the Raging Tiger off the counter. Off the trigger, sorry. I'd imagine he'd remove the Law. Yep, okay. Let's go 6 here. We'll save the Dofi just so he can block out for Jinbei, if need be. We do have quite a bit of counter in here, so we might not have to do that. But he's at 10. He's just putting me instead. Alright. That is totally okay. I mean, not really. We kind of lost a lot of counter there. But I can't say no, you know? This man has seen multiple Peronas, done some Dofi things. He stacked his 5 multiple times, and still no big drops. So I find that kind of hard to believe, to be honest, but maybe he's just not in a position to play them down. I'm not sure yet. We are only on turn 5, so it's a possibility. Maybe he's trying to get bodies on board before he plays stuff down. I'm not 100% just yet. Left 1 Don open. Interesting. So he goes 9k, he gets the Weevil off that, draws a free card. We get another Kaido. It's not what I want to see, but it might work out. Let's go 5 first. I think we'll go 5 with Boa as well, and then we'll play down a Kaido, give him back the Weevil and the Dofi. I think that's the play today. Because I don't think he plays down Weevil again next turn, unless he doesn't have anything. What are you doing? Okay, so he takes it. If he takes this life, he loses the game. So he needs to counter out or guard here. Okay, so he gives me a 2k. Let's bounce both of them back to hand. We'll pass it up. So now he cannot lay down a big body on board. He has to go defensive here, otherwise he'll just lose the following turn. He might have Boa as well. So I mean that could be a defensive play that he makes and make sure the Kaido can attack. That's something that he can do. That'll give him enough Dawn to do leader ability as well. Or he plays down a Dofi blocker and goes from there. But I don't think that would save him. Okay. Alright, never mind. We'll see what happens. Get the Jinbei down. He still has 6 Dawn to play with. Okay, so he's going 5. 6 Dawn open. That's potential like an X-Drake maybe into a 1 Dawn on Pudding to swing, or a Boa here. Okay. I was about to say, yeah. You need something to protect yourself from Kaido. I mean, dropping the Kaido is not necessarily bad. We could just bounce back a Weevil to hand or something like that. Or bounce the Boa back to hand. Because he only can play 1 Boa at a time. If he decides to target a Kaido, we still have another Kaido. Let's go 5. I think that's what we're going to do. And I think targeting Boa is probably the better play. Now I can bounce Dofi to hands, but it doesn't help us other than just give us a 1k counter. I think he's more valuable as the blocker here. So let's do it like this and we get to draw a card as well. So we get 3,000 worlds, which doesn't help us at all. And that's a third one actually. I think this is the wrong list. I think this list is running 3 Kaidos instead of 4 Kaidos. And then it runs 3,000 worlds instead. So that's my bad. Everything else should be the same. Goes 5. We'll counter out with Moria. And then we'll block all these attacks here. Because if we decide to take these, I can't guarantee if our damage will go through to be able to beat him. So I'd rather just guard out if we can. We can take this one. Let's just bottom deck the Pudding, I guess. Because we have 2 Kaidos on board. So we can go 5, 12, 9, and 12 maybe. Raging Tiger as well. Let's go 5 first. Just to soften the hand. Yep, there's a Pudding. That's nice. We'll go 9 with leader. So I need 5k for this. I played quite a bit of Green Uta today, actually. Like this matchup particularly. And I feel like it's heavily in your favor. Like, believe it or not, I think it's really, really good. Just because they play a lot of blockers on board. and we have access to, you know, things like Raging Tiger and Red Rock and 3000 Worlds. So we can remove the Nami, we can remove the Uta blocker, we can get rid of the Luffy in multiple different ways as well. And we have options to remove the kid. I think this is a really good matchup for you as long as you see your removal pieces. It's just, it can be challenging, definitely, if you don't see enough. But we got quite a bit of cards here, so let's do the Jinbei thing, get the Moria down, and take back the 2k counter. Real smooth like that. Yeah, that's right. I think we should actually get a damage in. Yep, bet. Alright. So far, so good. The downside to this is, if we don't see a Red Rock by the time that Uta plays Kid, and they just keep taking these hits, that's a lot of counter for Kid, and that might be a little bit difficult to deal with. Alright, so they didn't get anything from that, I don't think. Alright. That's fine. We do have the pudding. This feels bad for them, actually. Do we do it, though? Playing the pudding doesn't necessarily, like, give us a bad thing, but I think I'd rather remove the Nami if we can play the pudding later. Playing down low allows me to make them bottom deck a card. 3000 Worlds just instantly removes the Nami. It's probably the better play. And then we can go 7 and 5/5. I think there's no reason to not attack with the Jinbei and Moria to make Uta feel like they have to clear the board. Alright. Alright, so they give me a Brook for that, which is fine. I don't know if that was the right choice for 1k counters, but considering Brook kind of gives you a +1 on board, I don't know if that's what I would have done. But I don't know what else is in the hand here, so. Yep, 7 is a Jinbei. I could counter out, right? We could give them 2 2k counters. I think it's better to just let this go. He has 5 Dawn left to spend. Yeah, we'll just let this go. I mean, it's a possibility they have I'm invincible. So let's counter out and see what they can do. Get rid of the Dofi. I really didn't want to do it, but this might just force them to do it. Okay, cool, they did have it. Nice. Yeah, that'd be really risky for me to counter out that time. But they have 2 Dawn to play with, so they have access to Blue Note if they want to play it. Nice. Alright. 6 cards left in hand. We get the Mihawk. So we have the Mihawk for Luffy, the 7-drop. Which is great, because we haven't seen Red Rock yet. And I've learned that in this matchup, I don't ever want to use Red Rock on Luffy. I always want to use it on Kid, so that's something to make sure you have. So I think if you use it on the Luffy, you kind of lose the game, because they're just probably going to play another Luffy down next turn or play a Kid, and then you have no removal for either or. Go to 8. They're playing Rosinante, so yeah, they're definitely playing Kid. I like the Rosinante attack, though. I think that's pretty good. It's just, you might not hit it, or you might hit it a lot with Uta's leader ability. We have 4. I don't think we do that. This is not the play. I think the play here is just to play down Pudding and just call it a day. Just in case they have, you know, a bunch of stuff they're holding on for. Like if they already had Kid in hands, because we haven't seen them off leader ability, now they don't have it, which is nice. At least I hope not. Trash is looking good too. Go 6. 9 Dawn open, so that's enough to play Kid, attach 1 Dawn, and play something else on board. That feeling when like all kids were inside the Genesis, that'd be awesome. Alright, what are you getting? What did they get from that? Luffy, okay. So 4 cards left. We're gonna have to Mihawk this. Next turn we have Raging Tiger to bottom deck everything else on board. Ooh, very upset, aren't you? You know, I would say I feel bad for that Uta player, but at the end of the day, I think all of us, one too many times, have had to face Kid. So it feels good just to have the removal for things like the 7-drop Luffy, the Kid, willy-nilly. You know what I mean? Just one of those things where that's kind of like their condition to win the game sometimes, other than I'm invincible. And you can just say no. It feels good. Ooh, not too bad. We get the Jinbei and the Law here in hand. I know, like, in this matchup, just like playing Yamato a lot, you don't necessarily have to go 8k, get off that big swing. Most NL players will take the 5 or 6k hit. And this is kind of how I feel playing into NL just in general. Going small numbers, they normally want to take the hit anyway. We will counter this out. And I think that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to pepper him with small attacks. Trying to, like, whittle down the hand a little bit. We can get the Jinbei down on board. We can play the Law down. We can draw a free card off the leader ability, which is nice. Make them bottom deck something. We get another Jinbei, so we can do that again next turn. Yep, they take the hit. Yep. Cool. Alright. Yep, Gadetsu. We have the removal for that as well. I didn't want to give them the Sengoku there, so it's probably better just to take that smack. Bottom deck that. We'll go 7. Oh, okay, alright. They actually took that. It's a little crazy. Especially on turn 4 with no Yamato ready, of course. So. I mean, we do just have Sengoku, so it's not like we can push damage here. So we get a Shirahoshi down, 2 Shirahoshis down. Hard casted that one too, is wild to me. But I guess sometimes it'd be like that. It throws away a 2k counter. That's awkward. I would think 2k counters you'd need, right? Let's be honest. 2 2k counters. Okay, this man's cooking. I'm here for it. He's got 1 blocker on board. He's going to swing at me for 5. We can counter out of this. We don't need Sengoku anymore. Get another Raging Tiger. We either do this, get something decent here, which isn't too bad. Another 3,000 Worlds is not a bad card to see. I feel like the Jinbei is good as well, but we need something else here. I want to search for red rocks, just in case they get down the Yamato and stuff. Let's make them bottom deck something. We'll draw a card off that as well. Okay, Moria is not bad. Attacking here really doesn't do all too much, because I think he's just going to take the hit. But what do I know? Yep, cycle through. Sure. We'll pass it up. 7 cards back in hand here. I feel like we're doing great right now. It's just, you know he's going to heal up this turn. There's no way around it. And if he doesn't heal, he just loses. Yeah, okay. So Katakuri, this should be hitting the Shirahoshi here. Oh, okay, never mind. Danami. That's interesting. Go 6. We just counter out. We can get that back with Moria if we want to. So we get a Mihawk. Mihawk can't bounce anything that's relevant right now. So we could potentially just Raging Tiger. But there's no reason, considering they don't have any combat power. You know what I mean? Considering they're 0. So if we play down the Kaido, we just bounce back the cat out of hand. And then we can get rid of the blocker. If we go 5 here, he pops the Dofi. So this is going to be a given. Yep, you got it. Yep, kills the Dofi with Nami. Like, we knew that was going to happen, but I had to attack him anyway. And the problem is, if we play the Kaido, we just bounce back the Katakuri. He cannot play... I guess he could play that. It might be better to bounce Sengoku to hand, but I'm looking at the Shirahoshi for the blocker, and I probably want to get rid of this. Let's just do that. Get rid of the blocker and the Katakuri here. So next turn he has an option of playing Cat, bouncing the Shirahoshi to life, which I think I'm okay with. Yep. I was about to say, I don't know why you hesitated. You should have just taken the hit. There's the Big Mom. And I shouldn't have attacked there with Boa, to be honest. But what do you want to do? Alright, so he has to play Yamato here. He's got to heal up one. I don't think he would be playing Ace or anything of that nature. I think that's too aggressive of a play. I think he has to go defensive here. He's got quite a bit of cards in hand, so he definitely could do either or. So Yamato heals one. Goes 6. I'll take this one here as well. Not bad. Let's get the Boa down. Boa can make sure that Yamato can't attack. I don't have enough cards in hand, but we can just bottom deck this one. Get 4 down open. Best option that we can do. Yep. Let's go 12 here. That feel when he has another Yamato in hand. But we do have some pretty big bodies on board, so we might be able to just leave him at 0. Unless he goes defensive here. Katakuri. Oh, okay. Thank you for healing me. I appreciate it. I don't know if that was the right play, actually. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I felt like that was a little weird. Ooh. 7 and we have Pudding. If we play Pudding this turn, we cannot go for game. And there's no shot we go for game anyway with the blocker on board. Law allows me to make them bottom deck a card, which is kind of good in this scenario. This can get back a blocker. So potentially we can play a Gecko Moria and a Pudding this turn. Or he can get back a 2K from trash. Let's go 5 first. Can we put this man at 1 life? Or at 0 life? No. Okay, we can't. I tried. My other option is to attach Dawn to Sengoku and go for it. But I think he would just block me there. Bottom deck this. We draw another 2K counter. And there's no way we attack here with Kaido, otherwise he's just going to attack back into it. I think having the Mihawk and the Kaido here should allow us to win the game next turn. Because if he decides to play small blockers, we have the Raging Tiger to go for game still. Or at least push him to 0 life, you know. Depending on what's in hand. Goes 8K. Sure. Get another 2K counter from that. Another Katakuri. Can you stop, man? Goodness. Like I said, I feel like this leader is going to be already a problem in OP07 with the new ace and stuff, but man. Let's go ahead and give him a Crocodile here and a Moria. There's probably a bad play to do that. Like, if I had known I was going to draw a Pudding, I would just give him the Pudding there, but what are you going to do? Alright, so he gets a card back from life that has no counter here. So that's not really going to help him in this scenario. Let's go ahead and Pudding. Drop him down to 5. So he has no more Katakuri in hand. In hindsight, I should have played the Law down first to make him bottom deck something, and then played the Pudding. So misplays were made. 6. Yeah, that'll work. Alright, so he counters out with Frankie. 4 cards left in hand. I think this should be game, I think. No. We're going to go 7. Go 7. Go 7. Cool. Another Shirahoshi. I think that's 3 of them this time around. I'm pretty sure. Or is that 2? I think it was 3. Nami and Nami. Alright. Do you have the counter for this? Okay. So we put him at 0. I think next turn we should be able to win. At least I hope so. Unless he has another Yamato here. But if that's the case, that's his whole turn. He only can swing in with 6k with leader, and then we just win next turn. Yeah, you can't have this for free, I'm sorry. You thought, though. Goes 5 there. Yeah, that's fine. Plays out another Katakuri. Bro, I feel like we've been here before, boys and girls. Just wait. OP07 and L just gets much worse. Or much better, sorry. I don't want to confuse anybody. We'll take this hit. I mean, actually, you know what? We'll guard out. We'll guard out. I know this is really, really risky, and Raging Tigers are not going to get any value here, but I think this was the better play. Okay, he had another blocker in the end, so that does suck. Huh. I think we have to do this anyway. We got to remove this. Yep. Sure. What did I get off that? Another Crocodile, another 2k counter. Which is really good. That should allow us to survive the following turn as well. But we'll go 5 here. And we'll go 7, 9, and 12. Yep. What did you get rid of? A Yamato and a Yamato. Okay. And an ace. Love to see it. Damage? Come on. And that's game, boys and girls. Nice, let's go. I feel like this is one of those decks in which you never ever see anymore. Like, during OP06's release day, we had a lot of Reijus at our local spot. I've ran into so many Reijus here on Sim. I feel Reiju kind of just fell off quite hard. Like, just, she came out and everyone was super excited to play her, and then she kind of just plummeted. That's just me. That's just my 2 cents. But she has got new cards in OP07, be it the Sanji. So, the deck might make another splash here. But we'll see. Let's go 5. Unfortunately, she did find stage, which does suck. So, I mean, she wants to see the stage. It makes it a lot more consistent, obviously, but it's just something I didn't really like dealing with. But either way, let's get more cards out of hand. If she wants to kill Sengoku next turn, I don't really care. It allows us to go 6k with leader, and then we can play down a Jinbei into a Gecko Moria. That might be a bad play, though, actually. Never mind. It might be better just to do Jinbei into Law. Because I can't get back to Sengoku due to the fact he's Navy. Okay, alright. I like it. Sure. Okay, so he's dead. Oh. Did I miss something? Why did he send that back to hand? I mean, you could have just... Yeah, you could have just killed me there. I don't know. I have no idea. A little weird to me, but alright. I think I would have clearly killed that instead, because now I have the 1k counter back, and we also got another searcher off that, so... Well, we had another searcher. We'll just give him to him. It's fine. You see what you did? If you had killed the Sengoku, I wouldn't have been able to counter out with the 1k. I'd have to give you something else. But we'll do this. We're at 5 cards here. Let's do the law thing. This way, they're forced to bottom deck something. So good, by the way, in this matchup. Being able to just remove cards willy-nilly with removal that makes it not go into trash is really strong. Okay. I don't know what it was. We'll never know what it was. I just hope it was pretty useful. Can I get a damage in here, please? Nope, I sure can't. Okay. So I missed Double Finger as well. Makes the deck a little bit less, consistent. It might be better just for them to find an ETG here versus in like a blocker of some sort. Because if it was a blocker in this scenario, we can just remove it with ease. I think doing it this way, they at least can attack with 3 units this turn and hopefully do 1 damage to me. Jinbei is still chilling here. He does lose 2k power due to the ETG, but I'm not really worried about it. Yep, you got it. So we'll take a 2k counter from that. I don't know why you didn't attach Dawn there, but okay. We will counter out of this. I think it was more so beneficial to attach the Dawn to Niji to attack for 7k. Unless that 1k, or that 1 Dawn that he has active is Blast Breath. Either way, though, we are just going to bottom deck that, so we don't have to deal with that anymore. Let's go 6 here. See what he decides to do. I'm just looking for cards out of hand, that's all. Sweet. I can care less if we actually, put it in the trash. Give me one more, come on. Darn. Okay, alright. Try again. Wow, exactly 8k too. And they left up 1 Dawn again this turn. So that's gotta be like Blast Breath then. We could. This might be better to do this and make this man not attack and just go 8k to face. We can play the Dofi down and make sure we're set up for the following turn. Ooh, actually, this is really good. So we have another Boa to rest something, or make it not attack. So 2Ks, the Searcher, and a Raging Tiger. Let's do it like this and see if they're going to be prepared. I imagine they give me a card from hand. I don't think they want to go down to 1 life here in this matchup. Not on turn 5 anyway. Or they can give us another 2k counter. Just Double Finger again. Not doing anything relevant. So we do get the Mihawk and the Kaido in hand. Niji can't attack. So they're forced to play cards down on board to get swings off. Yep, that's fine. We got Sanji. Oh, Ichiji. I don't know why I said Sanji for. Alright, so we'll take the hit. We get another Jinbei here, which is nice. Jinbei can play Moria and do things like of that nature. Draw another 2k counter from trash. Let's do that. I think blocking there with Dofi was probably a misplay. I should have just given a card from hand. But I feel like if we would have done that, it sets us back a little bit. We'll Red Rock this again. We'll draw another free card. We get a Raging Tiger off that, which is amazing. Let's get Jinbei down, do the Moria thing. Take back the 2k counter. I don't know their hand, of course, so I mean, maybe it's not bothering them all too much, considering they can just get them back from the trash. Oh, we've seen 2 missed Double Fingers, and I think that is the 2nd Germa 6/6, so that's a lot of dead cards they can't use right now. Or at the time. If we go 8k here, 1 life left. If this hits, we win game next turn. Nice. Okay, so that's 4k counter, gone from hand. You going for me? Oh, he's actually going for me. So he's trying to win game here. So he does have enough Dawn to do it. He can go 7k with Niji, and then he can get Ichiji on board and do... Yeah, okay. So yeah, he could potentially win game. Because we have a lot of dead cards in hand right now. So hopefully he plays this right. You got mad lucky though, if that's the case. Yeah. Yeah, no, he didn't get it. He didn't get it. He didn't get it. We're chilling. We're chilling. We're chilling. Right? Okay, got raise you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we got this W here then, considering they did not draw another EGG. And I think we removed twice. We removed the card twice with removal effect, so I think that's pretty good. Yep, go 7. 1 Dawn active still. Interesting. 8K here. You got it. It's fine. And perhaps good game. Let's go 7 first. If they take this hit, then I think we just win game. But they have to guard this one. Another double finger. Okay. I'll just go 8. Then we go 9-9. So 7, 8, 9, 9. You know, the crazy amount of stalls this player is doing, man. Either you have the counter or you don't have the counter. What are you doing? Pushing you up to 7K with Sobbles. No problem. Or Spada. I don't know why I said Sobbles. You still need a 2K from this. I mean, that works. So you're to Vinsmoke and Queen. Let's go ahead and take the last life. And then we should be able to win here with Boa. Yep. Unless all those are 2K counters, but I doubt it. Nice. Good game. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the last game for today. I apologize. I'm sorry. I know. Been out here grinding away with Boa, having a good old time, smashing out a bunch of games, but I have a lot of other leaders I want to get into. Ooh, man, if only we can grab the pudding. This card is so good in this matchup. But in any case, I think this is maybe our third Uta of the day, maybe. I know we played against one earlier, so maybe this one will do a lot better, but we'll see. This is still a very, very tough matchup, I think, for Uta, considering all the removal that Boa has to be able to deal with the kids and the Luffys. But speaking of removal, we got the Red Rock. So now we're chilling. Now we are chilling. Let's get down the Jinbei thing. Let's draw a free card with Edward Weevil. We draw into another Jinbei, which is really, really good. That gives us an opportunity of playing down another Jinbei with Law on board as well. You get a backlight off that. I'll counter out. I kind of want to stay healthy here still. Drew a Sanji off that, so they got another 2K counter with the Nami. Dude, where is Pudding when I need it? Look at all those cards in hand. That'd be crazy right now. No Pudding. Unfortunate. Edward Weevil would be great. We have the potential of playing Weevil down, drawing into the 2K counter with the Jinbei the following turn. Let's do it like this. This won't be too bad, right? We already have a Kaido, so I don't really need that all too much. If we have to, we can rotate the rest of the cards to the bottom of the deck. But let's go 7 first. Go 7 with Weevil as well. But they have a whole book over there, man. Sure, okay. So considering they are playing like this just leads me to believe that they're just taking hits to be able to defend out the kid. And again, they probably don't know we were running the 10-drop Kaido. It's probably a good safe assumption to think that we have Red Rock, but we have both in hand. And if they literally are just taking damage to get the 2K counters to protect the kid, that is not how you want to do this matchup in the blue. Definitely not. So I get a Nami off that as well. 6 Dawn active. What do you play here? Goes 5 into what? Me? Or Jinbei? Oh, okay, Jinbei. I kind of want to keep him, right? Can we get the I'm Invincible? You want to do that for me? That'd be great. Oh, okay. Forgot about Backlight. That works. That's my bad. I totally forgot about that card. Like, I knew they drew it earlier, but yeah, I totally forgot about it. That's fine. So we get the Weevil. We're at 8 Dawn here. This means they go to 9 Dawn next turn. We could bottom deck the Nami here and just remove it from play. We don't have to worry about it. Because I think if we were to target the Uta, they just counter out. Now we can do the Jinbei into another Weevil here. Get the Gecko Moria. Go 5 lead. We have an onslaught of attacks for next turn. Because there's no way that they don't play down Kid or Luffy. They have 1 blocker on board. They have to go defensive. Because I'm at 4 life. We're just going to pass it up. There's no reason to swing here with Jinbei. I don't want to give them a target to, to clap back on. I think this turn they have to go defensive. Especially with all the cards on board. With only 1 blocker, that's a lot, man. Because I could just go, what? 7, 7, 7, and 7? Okay, yeah, so they are going to play Kid. We'll take it. Yep, because they need the Dawn to attach to the Kid. Yeah, that's fine. Do they have another blocker in hand? Because if that's the case, I guess it really wouldn't matter too much, would it? Okay, so they don't have another 3-drop. Just the Kid on board. So that means it's probably a lot of 2K counter in hand. I remember them drawing a couple of Sanjis. But that's about it. Well, this is an obvious play. We're just going to drop the Kaido, bounce both back to hand, and just go faces. And if he wants to play it back down next turn, we'll just do it again. Ooh. Rage quit, man. Crazy. Look at that hand. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the end of the video where we talk about the deck list, changes that I'm going to be making to it, and all that sort of thing. This has been a very, very fun leader. Again, one of my most anticipated of OP07. I'm very excited for her to come out, so I can go ahead and sit here in Theorycraft, make different builds, and have a good time. I do struggle into decks, like I said before, as like Rob Lucci, so I'm going to try to find a way around it, and or get a list that I can do a little bit better. I don't think you're going to be able to beat it consistently, but I don't want it to feel like a lopsided game, you know what I mean? So I'm going to get a lot more practice into that list, because I know a lot of people are going to be very much interested in Rob Lucci. And speaking of which, he will be on the channel here soon for OP07, so stay tuned for him as well. But overall, there's going to be a bunch of updates to this deck. Once she does come out in OP07, I will be making sure to tinker my list some more and let you guys know what I've changed and all that sort of thing. But for those of you guys who are interested in playing Boa, of course, leave your builds down in the comments below. How about your community? Leave me your thoughts and your opinions on what cards I should try out next time in Boa, what's working for you, because this leader can be built in numerous different ways, and this is just scratching the surface. But I do want to tinker around with a bunch of these new cards that we don't have access to just yet, such as the promo Luffy. I know I touched on it in the beginning of the video, but in case you guys don't know what this card does, it is a promo that allows you to trash 2 cards from your hand, so you can get rid of like things like Kaido or Mihawk, or like something that has no counter, or something that is just a 7 Warlord of the Sea, and you can get it back later on with Gecko Moria, so it's not too bad. And once you trash 2 cards, Luffy makes your opponent choose a card on their field and puts it at the bottom of their deck. And then you can draw a free card with Boa's effect if you have 5 cards or less. So this card does have some pretty good synergies with the list. But that's just one of the mini cards that I want to take a peek at here in this deck. I'm also thinking about upping my removal count and getting rid of the 0-cost event and getting rid of the Weevils. I haven't really put too much thought in removing this guy. I think he's really, really good here in the deck, considering he's allowed to be cheated out with Jinbei. And he draws you a +1. And he's a 6K body. So he has like hit or miss. But the 0-cost event, even though there's only one of them, I feel like we rarely ever see it. And I don't know if I necessarily want to just leave it in the list. I think I might just take it out and just up some more removal costs. But we'll see what we do here. I also think Slave Arrow might be a decent card. Now, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are kind of like experimenting with this one. I don't see why not. But overall, I had a lot of fun putting this list together. I do hope you guys enjoy it. Also, Discord will now be in the description. If the link does not work, yell at me. Let me know. I'll fix it as soon as possible. You guys asked for it. Discord is finally here. It took me a while. I had to do a lot of server cleanup, I guess you would say. It's not fully completed because I'm not done with my emojis yet. So I'm still looking for an artist to complete a couple of emojis that I want to do. If you guys are interested in drawing or making a bunch of chibi One Piece characters and stuff for Discord emojis, let me know. I can pay you. Let me know what your price is going to be, all that sort of stuff, and we'll talk about it. But overall, this has been Pawseplays. Remember, guys, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe for future content when it comes to all things One Piece. Hit that like button so these videos can be floating around, and I will catch you guys in the next one and to our locals. Stay safe out there. I'll see y'all later.